So, how are your boundaries? Not great? Mine either. Let's pull this apart. Okay, so this one, I read this one, and I really had to stop because I've been in this situation actually. How to enforce boundaries when in the car? Right, because usually boundary advice is if you don't like something, you can step away, right? What about when you're in the car going 100 miles an hour down the highway? You can't really be like, yeah, I'm not really feeling this conversation, and just meow. Nuance? Don't know her. We're going from zero to bunker. Do not tuck and roll when in an argument in the car. Okay, so I've recently begun setting boundaries. Get it, get it. One of them is that if I'm being yelled at, I will leave the area. Okay, yeah, there you go. Absolutely. My husband and I recently got into an argument when he was driving. I wanted to get out of the car because he was breaking my boundary. However, even though we were only about 100, no, I'm sorry, we were only about 1 kilometer from home, it was late at night, so he didn't want to pull over. Okay, wait. So what they're saying is they were in the car, and because he was yelling, he was breaking the boundary. And they were a kilometer from home. I can't do the math on that. I'll put it on the screen in what that is in miles. And it was late at night, so they didn't want to pull over. Okay, fair. Yeah. Eventually, he drove me back home so that I could get out. But we fight in the car sometimes, and it's maybe on a highway or far from home. How can I enforce my boundary of not allowing myself to be yelled at? It's really not necessarily the leaving that's the boundary. It's what you do in response to the violation. So, like, if they're violating the boundary that you've already agreed upon, and you say, okay, no fighting in the car, and they start fighting, you can say, we already agreed we weren't going to fight. I'm going to stop responding. I mean, I don't know, if it were me, I would just be like, ooh, it's my favorite song. Turn up the radio, be like, obviously, ahead of jumping out. Why did the narcissist cross the road? They thought it was your boundaries. All right, so this person's asking, is this boundary unreasonable? This is a question that gets asked a lot in boundaries, especially if you're not used to them. A few days ago, I was setting a boundary with my dad and stepmom. All I want is for them to not force me to talk when I'm feeling depressed. Fair. My dad said, how about this? When we ask you a question, you answer it. Nice. Yeah, reserving comment on that one. I told him with my depression, that's not an option, but he told me to make it one. Dad's a winner. Yeah. My stepmom told me that it's human nature to be concerned, so therefore they won't allow it. Or sorry, they won't follow it. They also then proceeded to call out things I haven't been doing around the house. Wait, what does that have to do with anything? I'm going to put a boundary down. I don't like being confronted when I'm depressed. I can't talk when I'm depressed. Well, we don't really care about that, but you haven't done the dishes. What is with dishes? They have this belief that children don't get privacy and the boundaries are only for people who need them. Oh boy. Everybody needs boundaries. Holy moly. And that I'm not allowed to set boundaries regarding my mental health. Oh, honey, child. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. If anything, the main place to set boundaries is around your mental health. I don't know what to do. So is this boundary unreasonable? It's not, it, don't force me to talk isn't ignore me forever. It's like, you're just asking for a pause, right? And for the parent to be like, oh, you don't get boundaries because you're our child. Oh boy. Ooh, wow. I wonder how much that therapy is going to cost. Holy cow. I think in this situation, it's not really something that you treat as an argument. I think you just, like the last one, state your boundaries again. Tell them, I've said this before, I'll repeat myself, I can't talk right now. And if they're going to be rude and be like, hey, you haven't done dishes in a while, you can't have boundaries and also get some housework done, I would double down. Personally, if it were me, I would double down. I just say, I really respect that you need me to do that. And I can't respond right now. It's just not possible. It's tough.
I'm beside you. Subscribe if any of this sounded familiar. I'll be here.